Morning, everybody. Headed down to circuit court this morning. Got a little trial. Shouldn't be a big deal. I'll tell you a quick war story about a guy came into my office here a while back, charged with rape. He told me that he had an attorney, public defender, and that the attorney told him that the prosecution was offering 20 years if he pleaded guilty to rape, and by God, he'd better take it because that was the best it was going to get. He said, if you take this to trial, there's no real way you can hope to win it, and you're just going to spend the rest of your life in prison if you don't take this deal I've negotiated with you. Well, this guy was upset because he didn't think he was guilty of rape, and he wanted a second opinion, came to see me, told me the story, and I'm like, gosh, that doesn't sound like a very good case for the prosecution at all to me. I think, can't promise anything, but I think I could maybe win this for you. So he hired me. I went to court with him, went into the attorney's office and said, hey, I'm here to take over this case from you, and told him the guy's name. He's like, that name sounds familiar. He digs out a file from his big stack of files he had in front of him. Little bitty thin file, 4 or 5 sheets of paper in it, which is strange. It's a rape case, and he's about to plead him guilty. And I'm like, didn't you do any work on the case, Do any discovery, maybe? And so anyway, I go in front of the judge, tell the judge he doesn't want to plead guilty, like an opportunity to get up to speed and to try this case. The judge granted that motion, and I called the prosecutor, and I told her, look, I don't think it's a very good case you got here. Well, she knew it wasn't a good case. She knew it wasn't a good case. But she also knew that the other attorney has a reputation for never taking anything to trial. Never, ever. Always just takes whatever they offer and talks the clients into it, and they don't know any better. They think, well, he's an attorney, And wound up, I did plead the case. We didn't take it to trial, but the only reason is because my client had a problem, and his problem was that he couldn't tell me, he couldn't testify in good faith that he didn't do it. I couldn't put him on the stand. He told me, I can't remember. I was so intoxicated, I can't remember. But I know that I didn't do that. I wouldn't do it, but I really don't remember what happened. That was my only real setback. If he could have got on the stand in good faith and said, I did not do it, I'd have taken this to trial, and I think we'd have got a not guilty. But as it was, I wound up pleading him guilty to misdemeanor assault, and he got 11 months in the county jail. 11 months in the county jail versus 20 years in state penitentiary. And he was an immigrant, so he would have been deported, and we avoided deportation because, he wasn't found guilty of a felony. Had another lady recently come in. She was an immigrant also from an Asian country. She came here on an investment visa. Must have a family with a lot of money because, it takes a lot of money to come here on an investment visa. You have to invest, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And she got charged with robbery. And I looked at the police reports. I'm not taking her word for it. I understand she might lie to me, but I looked at the police reports. And it was like she was in a store, and the store security officer, not a police officer, store security officer said that he saw her conceal something and take it out of the store. And he went out, and he's dressed like a maintenance person. He's undercover, right? He's not in uniform or anything. And he approaches her as she's getting in her car and tries to stop her. She gets in her car and leaves. And they charge her with robbery. He said that, he had to jump out of the way to keep from her, backing over him or something. And just reading the reports, I'm thinking, I can win this. They didn't find her for like another month or something from her tag. And there was no way they were going to locate any merchandise on her or anything. I'm like, I can win this case. Are you kidding me? A woman walks out of a store, a guy follows her out. She described him as dressed like a maintenance guy. He's a large black male. She's an Asian female, and follows her out and says, come here, I want to talk to you. And she gets in her car and leaves. Now, I could have won that. But she didn't hire me. She hired another attorney, and he pled her guilty to felony aggravated assault because she didn't know any better. And now she's being, deported. I tell you this to tell you, if you're looking for an attorney to defend you on criminal charges, or any time it might go in front of a jury, personal injury, civil rights stuff, you got to know that attorney has trial experience and is willing to take something to trial. It would amaze you. I promise you it would amaze you, because it amazes me and it amazes many attorneys that I know. How many attorneys out there put themselves out as criminal defense attorneys or, whatever, and they never go to trial? Are you kidding me? All of your cases settle? That's amazing. Never go to trial? First thing you need to know if you're thinking about hiring an attorney is, how many jury trials did you do last year, in the last 5 years, in your career? Because all attorneys develop a reputation for whether or not they're aggressive and whether or not they'll actually take something to trial, or whether they're just BSing all the time. And if you get an attorney and that attorney does not have a reputation for being willing to show up and do a jury trial, you're not going to get a good offer, even if you have to plead guilty to something. You're certainly not going to get a not guilty from a jury, because they're never going to take it to jury trial. But you're not even going to get a good offer because of this attorney's reputation. Why don't attorneys want to take stuff to jury trials? Well, it's because it's a lot of work. It's very stressful. It requires real on-your-feet, quick thinking and public speaking skills. And it's just a lot of strategy work, and attorneys just don't want to deal with the stress. They don't mind taking your money, but when it comes right down to it, they don't want to deal with the stress, and they will try to talk you into taking a plea. Some attorneys will, every time. So my advice to you is, if you need a good attorney, you need to investigate, first and foremost, that attorney's willingness in the past to take matters to trial and go to the mat and fight for you. You really need to look into that, because let me tell you, it could be the difference between life and death, literally.